Thank you all for listening and watching my videos. Please subscribe and like my channel Master Coolitz. Hoping that you will not skip my ads, it's a big help for me by not skipping it. Thank you so much. Dragon Shadow. The Rise.
In the midst of a frantic chase, Zane Martel and Eric Helm raced through the dense forest, their breaths ragged, their hearts pounding like war drums. The trees whipped past them, branches tearing at their clothes and scratching their skin. The ground beneath their feet was uneven, littered with fallen leaves and hidden roots, each step a test of their agility and endurance. Among their pursuers, Madame Tina led the charge, her eyes blazing with determination and rage. Her flowing robes billowed behind her like the wings of a vengeful spirit, and her every movement was imbued with deadly purpose. She was at the very front, her aura exuding a deadly seriousness that sent shivers down the spines of her fellow pursuers. Everyone coveted Zane's divine bow, the legendary weapon capable of immense destruction and power. But for Madame Tina, it was personal. Zane had killed Kai Rivers, making them irreconcilable enemies. The memory of Kai's lifeless body flashed before her eyes, fueling her hatred and driving her forward with relentless fury.
Zane! Eric, stop!
Stopping wasn't an option. To halt now was to embrace death. Eric, though skilled, was no match for the speed and power of their enemies. His heart pounded in his chest, a constant reminder of the imminent danger. Sweat poured down his face, and his muscles ached from the exertion. It was only a matter of time before they were caught and killed. The sound of their pursuers grew louder, the thundering footsteps and angry shouts echoing through the forest.
How dare you? I said stop!
With a swift motion, Madame Tina summoned a colossal hand of shimmering energy. It loomed over Zane and Eric, casting an oppressive aura that crushed the air around them. The massive hand radiated a heavenly might that seemed to freeze the very air, nearly crushing them under its weight. The ground beneath them trembled, and the trees around them bent under the pressure. The energy hand crackled with power, its presence an overwhelming force of nature.
Eric, put me down. Hurry up and run. They're after me.
Zane's voice was strained and weak, each word accompanied by a painful cough. His body was on the brink of collapse, and he knew he was slowing Eric down. Blood trickled from the corner of his mouth, and his vision blurred. The weight of his injuries bore down on him, making each step a monumental effort. He felt the cold grip of despair tightening around his heart.
If I'd wanted to ditch you, I'd have done it ages ago. Besides, I promised Elora I'd get you out of here.
Eric's tone, though light, was filled with resolve. He adjusted his grip on Zane, his eyes scanning the forest for a way out. The promise to Elora was a lifeline, a reason to keep going despite the odds. Eric's determination was unwavering, his spirit unyielding in the face of danger.
But you'll be marked as my accomplice. They'll hunt you too.
Zane's concern was genuine, his eyes filled with worry. The thought of Eric's suffering because of him was unbearable. He knew the full extent of the wrath they faced, and it gnawed at him to drag his friend into this peril.
So what?
Eric's laugh was defiant, a bold rejection of the dire situation. His laughter echoed through the forest, a sound of resilience against the creeping fear. Zane felt a surge of gratitude, but the monstrous hand was descending, an unavoidable fate. The air buzzed with tension, and the oppressive energy bore down on them, suffocating and relentless. In a desperate move, Eric pulled out a yellow token and crushed it. Instantly, a cloud of white particles enveloped them, and with a swoosh, they vanished from the spot, reappearing hundreds of miles away in a vast pasture.
Eric, how did you get this token?
Zane's surprise was evident. Such a powerful teleportation token was not something a mere intermediate-level practitioner should possess. The implications of Eric having such an item were staggering, and Zane's mind raced with questions.
Thomas gave it to me in secret. He wanted us to escape.
Back at the chase, Madame Tina and her cohort were seething with anger. They had lost their prey, but their fury only grew stronger. The forest seemed to pulse with their collective rage, an ominous presence that threatened to swallow everything in its path.
It was a flash move token! Someone's helping them! Keep chasing! The token's range is limited!
The sky darkened as a middle-aged man from the Godwill sect flicked his finger, releasing a fire phoenix with a peculiar pig's nose from a spirit cultivation ring. The phoenix, an unusual sight, let out a series of strange chirps. flapping its wings and setting off in pursuit. The hunters followed, thunderous booms echoing across the sky. The air was thick with tension, and the pursuit resumed with renewed vigor.
Track Zane's scent.
The phoenix soared above the trees, its keen senses honing in on Zane's trail. The hunters moved with deadly precision, their eyes glinting with the promise of victory. They were relentless, their focus unwavering.
Eric, how many tokens do you have left?
Just 2.
Zane's mind raced. He took a token from Eric, formulating a plan. The tension between them was palpable as they ran, the weight of their predicament bearing down on them. The forest seemed to close in around them, the trees whispering of danger and doom. But before he could act, more than a dozen figures appeared in the sky, laughing maniacally. Their laughter was a chilling sound, filled with the certainty of impending doom.
Zane, there's no escape. Hand over your bow and your life.
As 2 large hands formed in the sky, Zane shattered the token. Again they vanished, reappearing in a turbulent river gorge. The Sky River stretched out before them, its waters wild and unrelenting. The sound of the rushing water was deafening, a constant reminder of the peril they faced. The roar of the water echoed off the rocky cliffs, creating an almost otherworldly cacophony. The river was a swirling mass of frothy white waves and dark churning depths, its power both awe-inspiring and terrifying.
This is the Sky River. Anyone who falls in will be shredded.
Eric's voice was filled with a mix of fear and urgency. He glanced at the river, the sheer force of the water evident in every violent swirl and eddy. The Sky River was notorious throughout the land, a natural barrier that few dared to cross. Its currents were said to be strong enough to pulverize even the toughest rocks, and the tales of those who had been swept away were the stuff of nightmares.
My plan is to use the river to escape. There's a calm spot in the middle. I might survive if I fall there.
Zane's eyes were sharp, his mind racing with the details of his desperate plan. He remembered the small, tranquil eddy he had discovered by chance, a rare, safe haven in the otherwise deadly waters. It was a slim hope, but it was the only chance they had. The memory of that calm spot was etched into his mind, a beacon of possibility in their dire situation.
You're crazy. What about Elora?
Eric's face showed a mix of fear and skepticism. The thought of Elora flashed through his mind, her trusting eyes and the promise he had made. The Sky River was notorious for its deadly currents, and any martial artist who fell into it would be torn apart by the powerful waters. Eric's anxiety was palpable. He knew the river's reputation well.
It's our best shot.
Zane's resolve was unshakable. He looked at Eric with unwavering determination, his mind set on the plan. The oppressive presence of their enemies loomed ever closer, the shouts of the hunters growing louder as they closed in. The air was thick with tension, the anticipation of the impending clash almost suffocating. The stakes were high, and there was no room for doubt or hesitation. As their pursuers closed in, Zane broke the final token. They teleported once more, reappearing at the river's edge. The hunters weren't far behind, their shouts growing louder. The oppressive presence of their enemies loomed over them, but Zane remained focused. The scene was chaotic, the contrast between the calm anticipation and the frenzied pursuit creating a surreal atmosphere.
Nowhere to run, Zane. Hand over the bow and you'll die quickly.
Madame Tina's voice was laced with contempt, her words cutting through the din of the rushing river. She hovered above the ground, her aura a dark cloud of malevolence. Her confidence was unshaken, the certainty of her victory evident in her every move. She savored the moment, believing that she had finally cornered her prey. But Zane stood firm, drawing his bow, eyes cold and unwavering. He was prepared to fight, to make a stand even in the face of overwhelming odds. His grip on the divine bow was steady, his posture one of unyielding defiance. The weight of his past, the losses he had endured, and the injustices he had faced all coalesced into a single moment of resolve.
I will take back everything they took from me. Madame Tina, the Seven Nations Alliance, and Eastern Palm will pay.
Zane's voice echoed across the gorge, filled with a fierce determination that seemed to reverberate through the very air. The words were a vow, a declaration of intent that transcended the immediate danger. The forces arrayed against him were formidable, but Zane's spirit was indomitable. He stood at the edge of the Sky River, ready to leap into the unknown, driven by a powerful mix of vengeance, hope, and the unbreakable will to survive. The Sky River roared beneath, its waters churning with violent intensity. The sky darkened as the illusion of the three-legged golden crow appeared, casting an eerie glow. Arrows flew from it, not as fierce as before, but enough to strike fear into those who dared to face it. The crowd, already tense from the unfolding battle, felt a collective shiver run through them as the legendary creature materialized, its presence commanding awe and dread in equal measure. The golden arrows shimmered with a deadly brilliance, their trajectory unerring as they sped towards their targets.
Zane Martell, how can you use a divine weapon in your current condition? Everyone, dodge.
Madame Tina and her companions turned pale and fled, unwilling to underestimate the power of the divine bow. The three-legged golden crow screamed, its voice echoing through the valley as it chased after her with relentless vigor. The sight of the golden arrows shimmering with lethal intent heightened the tension, pushing everyone to their limits. The oppressive aura of the divine bow weighed heavily on them, instilling a primal fear that urged them to flee with all their might. The arrows, glowing with an ethereal light, sliced through the air with a whistling sound that seemed to herald doom.
Zane Martell, you're dead meat.
Zane, drained of strength and vital energy, managed a weak smile. His body felt heavy, each breath a laborious effort, yet his resolve remained unbroken, fueled by a single, unyielding purpose. His eyes, though dimmed with exhaustion, still held a fierce determination, reflecting the promise he had made to Elora. He knew he was on the brink of collapse, but the thought of rescuing Elora kept him going.
Elora, wait for me. I will save you.
With that, he fell into the Sky River, Eric Helm following closely. The river's rapids turned sharp like knives, cutting the two men, their blood mixing with the water and staining it scarlet before dispersing. The current was strong, pulling them deeper into the unknown. The Sky River, deep and endless, was said to lead to the other side of the earth, its bed unseen. Legend spoke of the river's unforgiving nature, a relentless force that could swallow entire armies without a trace. The river carried Zane and Eric away, out of sight. Soon, tales of Zane's prowess in the peace negotiation hall spread throughout the Seven Kingdoms Alliance in Eastern Palm. Rumors of Albert's death circulated only for him to return months later, gravely injured and reclusive. The legend of Zane grew, painting him as a figure both feared and revered. His name became synonymous with death, and even expert-level practitioners who witnessed the divine bow's might feared him. His exploits were recounted in hushed tones, each telling adding to his mythic stature. As months passed, imposters emerged, attempting to capitalize on his reputation, but they were swiftly exposed and dealt with. Despite the passage of time, the search for Zane never ceased, his whereabouts a mystery that gnawed at those who sought him. In Green Cow Village near Eastern Prairie, a group of special martial artists arrived, unsettling the village with their presence and stirring whispers of curiosity and fear.
Damn it! It's been more than a year since Zane Martell was seen. Maybe he's been eaten by a demonic beast in some corner of Eastern Prairie. Why do we have to waste time looking for him? I'm so angry!
That's right. If I see him, I'll tear him to shreds.
Brag all you want, but he killed a man in the advanced level. What about you? Are you sure you can beat him?
What do you mean? It's just a bow. If I see him, I'll grab the bow and arrow immediately. I will be able to kill a practitioner of that level.
Their conversation was interrupted by an 18-year-old girl bringing pastries and tea. Her movements were graceful yet hurried, her eyes reflecting a mix of fear and curiosity. She approached them cautiously, the tray in her hands trembling slightly.
Milords, are you going to look for traces of death again?
Yes, I'm so annoyed. Tell me.
The leader's words trailed off as he eyed the girl, his lust flaring. He scanned her from head to toe, his intentions blatantly obvious. His companions watched, their expressions a mix of amusement and anticipation.
Oh, what a beautiful girl in the countryside. It's a complete waste to stay here. Why don't you serve me tonight, and I'll bring you back to the Godwill sect once I am done.
He reached out to touch her, his fingers grazing her arm. She recoiled, her face pale with shock and disgust.
Please conduct yourself with dignity.
She quickly moved away, but her actions only excited him more. His companions watched with grins, their amusement evident.
Are you refusing me? It's not up to you. Brothers, I'll let you use her once I'm done.
His dirty words drew laughter from his companions. At that moment, a little boy, no older than 6 or 7, stood in front of the girl, his eyes filled with determination. He clenched his small fists, his stance protective.
Sister, don't be afraid. I'll protect you. Bad guys, stay away from my sister or I won't let you go.
Do you know who you're talking to? Get lost.
The leader raised his hand to slap the boy, but an arm stopped him. The force of the block reverberated through the air, drawing everyone's attention. The villagers, who had been silently observing the tense situation, gasped in unison, their collective breath held as they awaited the next move. The owner of the arm, a young man named Larry Shaw, was around 20 years old, yet his eyes were fierce and resolute. He stood tall, his presence commanding respect and fear. Larry's grip was firm, unyielding, his posture exuding an air of confidence that belied his young age. His aura was palpable, a testament to his latent potential and the rigorous training he had undergone. The leader of the martial artists sneered, but there was a flicker of hesitation in his eyes as he met Larry's unwavering gaze.
Larry Shaw, you're finally here.
Who do you think you are? You are merely trash in the foundation level, yet you dare to attack me? Go to hell.
The leader punched Larry, his fist glowing with spirit light. The air buzzed with energy, the power behind the punch enough to kill an ordinary person. But Larry, expressionless, easily blocked the attack, his stance unyielding.
Is everyone from the Godwill sect trash? It's a shame for the human race. Anyway, it's about time. Let's kill them all.
Kill me? You want to kill me? That's the funniest joke in the world. In that case, go to hell.
With a flick of Larry's finger, a faint green sword energy shot out, piercing the leader's neck. The advanced level expert collapsed, lifeless. The other martial artists, horrified, attempted to flee, their fear palpable.
Hurry up! Let's go back to the sect and report to everyone that someone has attacked the people of the Godwill sect.
Before they could move, Larry's face remained emotionless as he sent out several streaks of sword energy, killing them all. Their bodies fell to the ground. Blood pooled around the bodies, leaving the village in a tense silence. The tension in the inn was palpable as Larry Shaw stood over the defeated members of the Godwill sect. Blood seeped into the wooden floor, creating dark, ominous stains that spread slowly, a grim reminder of the violence that had just unfolded. The sight of the crimson liquid startled Zara and Max beside him, their eyes wide with shock and fear.
Don't worry, Zara and Max, everything is fine.
Larry Shaw touched the heads of Zara and Max, trying to offer some comfort amidst the chaos. Max, the boy, clenched his fist defiantly, his young face set in a determined scowl.
I'm not afraid. They were bad people. They deserved it for bullying my sister.
Zara, the 18-year-old, looked at the corpse on the ground with a mix of fear and concern. The lifeless body, once a threatening figure, now lay motionless, its presence still casting a long shadow over her thoughts.
Larry Shaw, you should leave. The person you killed is from the Godwill sect. They're powerful and arrogant. They won't let you off. Take this money and run as far as you can.
She handed Larry Shaw a few silver coins, her hands trembling slightly. Her voice quivered, betraying the fear she tried to mask. Larry, however, gently pushed her hand away, his expression calm and reassuring.
As I said, I will protect you as thanks for taking me in that day. But it's almost time for me to leave. You need these coins more than I do.
Larry Shaw handed them 2 storage rings, causing Zara and Max's eyes to widen in disbelief. These were no ordinary gifts. In Green Cow Village, such treasures were unheard of. Almost everyone was an ordinary person or below the 5th stage of body tempering. The rings represented a future they had never dared to dream of.
These rings have the cultivation methods I've selected for you. Some basic elixirs and crystals. Enough for you to cultivate.
Zara's eyes filled with tears as she looked at the rings. The reality of their situation and the generosity of Larry's gift overwhelmed her. The weight of responsibility for her brother Max bore down on her, but so did a flicker of hope.
No, Larry Shaw, it was thanks to your care that Max and I could live on. We can't accept such a valuable thing.
Max, however, eagerly accepted the ring, his young face lighting up with excitement and gratitude. The thought of being able to protect his sister, to repay Larry for his kindness, was too compelling to resist.
Sister, you're too kind. This is Larry Shaw's gratitude. If we don't accept it, he won't be at ease when he leaves.
Larry Shaw smiled and ruffled Max's hair, his heart warming at the boy's earnestness. He saw in Max a reflection of his own determination and courage.
Right, Max. Remember, you have to become powerful to protect your sister.
As Larry Shaw spoke, the weight of his words settled over them like a protective shield. The gravity of their situation was undeniable, but so was their resolve. The bond, forged through shared hardship and unwavering support, would be their strength as they faced the uncertain future ahead. He then instructed them to leave Green Cow Village to avoid being targeted by the Godwill sect before turning to leave. As he walked away, he sighed heavily, the weight of the past year pressing down on him. His thoughts swirled with memories and unresolved pain.
A year is gone in a blink of an eye. Elora, wait for me. I'm coming. I will make those who sacrificed you pay the price.
He pressed his palm to his face, distorting his features, and removed a mask, revealing the word 7. Beneath the mask was Zane Martell. The transformation was startling. The gentle protector of Zara and Max was gone, replaced by the fierce and determined warrior. Zane Martell had hidden in Green Cow Village, recovering from his injuries, while his friend Eric Helm gathered information. He learned that Elora was imprisoned, and Wu Si intended to use her to break through to the expert level. The realization had filled Zane with a burning resolve to save her. The betrayal and the subsequent fall from grace had forged him into a sharper, more focused weapon of justice. Concerned about Eric Helm's silence for the past 3 months, Zane Martell decided it was time to act. He had made friends with Zara and Max to conceal his identity, using a mask to change his appearance and voice. Despite his injuries, Zane Martell's strength had grown, mastering new sword techniques. His training had been relentless, each day bringing him closer to his goal.
It's time to set off.
He donned his mask, changing his appearance once more, and flew away from Green Cow Village. The mask felt familiar, an old ally in his quest for vengeance and justice. He landed in front of Yellow Rock City, a place plagued by demonic insects that consumed raw ore and iron. The city's lord had offered a reward for their extermination, but many had failed. The city was a hive of activity, with people bustling about, talking about the latest news. The air buzzed with conversations filled with worry and hope. Zane Martell approached the mining vein, where a crowd had gathered around a notice board. The air was thick with anticipation and anxiety as people read the notice, their faces reflecting a mix of fear and excitement.
The one who exterminates the demonic insects will be rewarded with 500,000 crystal stones. The city lord is so generous.
An insider shook his head, explaining the difficulty of the task. His voice carried the weight of past failures, a cautionary tale for the eager crowd.
You must be an outsider. The demonic insects are powerful and invulnerable. Many capable people have tried and failed.
Zane Martell listened, amused by their descriptions of the insect's strength. The exaggerated stories and fear-mongering only steeled his resolve. Suddenly, a man in fancy clothes laughed mockingly, his arrogance palpable.
Can't you even deal with a demonic insect? Seriously, you guys are useless. Since the sect has sent me, I naturally have a way.
Zane Martell's eyes narrowed as he recognized the man from the Godwill sect. The familiar emblem of the sect on the man's robe brought back a flood of memories and anger. The crowd began to flatter the man, their hopes pinned on him. Zane Martell, however, remained unimpressed. He knew the true nature of the Godwill sect, their cruelty and their deceit. As Zane Martell observed the man, his thoughts raced. The Godwill sect was here, and so was he. The tension in the air crackled, a prelude to the clash that was about to unfold. His heart pounded with the anticipation of the inevitable confrontation.
That's right. If we can't even handle Godwill sect, no one will be able to.
Everyone was shocked and began to flatter him, which made the man complacent. Only Zane Martell looked at the person indifferently, and his expression remained the same. The silent storm within him grew, his determination solidifying with each passing second. The prelude to the clash was clear. Zane Martell knew that this confrontation with the Godwill sect was inevitable and necessary. The man from the sect continued to bask in the praise, unaware of the silent storm brewing within Zane.
This is just the beginning. They will pay for everything they have done.